First order of business is to approve the agenda from the previous meeting. Is there a motion to approve that agenda? Approve the agenda of this meeting, excuse me.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now I want to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the public hearing, which was held at the school budget and for the February 18, 2016 regular board meeting. Do we have a motion to accept those and approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we'll move to the recognition section of the meeting. Recognize Mr. Bricker, the superintendent.
The Kingsport Times News Right On initiative it comes out on Wednesday in the paper. This week from Pennington Middle School, they had entries from Cassie Bledsoe, Evan Britton, Jesse Daugherty, Bethany Davis, Chloe Miles, and December Stepper. And also, it's going to be new in the future, and this is just an example, but we're coming up with a certificate to give to all these students who participate in the ride. That's nice. It is. For all the students.
Anything else on that?
No.
Okay, next will be the schools with the highest percent of attendance. Mr. Bricky also.
Schools with the highest percent of attendance this month. Our traveling trophy goes to Rose Hill for best attendance for February, and that's with a 95.6%. Second was Elton Knob with 95.11. Congratulations to these two schools.
Mr. Bricky?
Yes.
I believe Jonesville's got 95.3.
That was for October. February's upper left-hand corner.
Oh, okay, yeah. Roll call.
August was 98, that's highest on there this
Roll
year.
call,
August is
sorry.
the highest, 98.3, which is great for February. Those were for February.
Okay. It's not on the agenda, but I think there's a few other students that need to be recognized. So we're just going to go ahead and I guess it'll be the chairman's prerogative. I want to mention that during this last basketball season at Lehigh, that Kim Pierre went over 1,000 points in basketball, and he ended up with 1,284 points for his career. So want to congratulate Kim on that. Also, Ryan Morris signed last week to run cross country at Alice Lloyd College. Want to congratulate him on that. Devin Rutledge signed this week to play football at UVA Wise. Again, congratulations. And Patrick Allen is signing tomorrow to play football at Emory and Henry. So we want to recognize all those students and wish them the best in their future careers. And I believe Mr. Kidwell has some recognition also.
Well, yes, we got some for Thomas Walker. Mr. Sean Williams won the DAR Good Citizens Award. Mr. Hunter Cope went 1,000 plus career points at Thomas Walker. He had 1,502 points. And the junior varsity Lady Pioneers made it to the district finals this year with Coach Ashley Burke. Say congratulations all of them.
Is there any other recognition? If not, we'll move to public expression. I want to remind you that you have 5 minutes. Don't mention names. Don't, keep it under control. If anybody has anything they want to say. No one? All right, next we'll move to reports. First, we'd recognize Tim Kress to address flexible savings accounts.
I was asked to speak on this topic, and actually I guess it's been several years ago, Debbie had asked me to address this same topic. If you look there's a packet, some vanilla envelope there. Actually, I think I dropped a copy of Mr. Bricky earlier today, because I thought it'd be a chance to maybe review it. For you that are not familiar with it, the company I work for, we've had flexible spending accounts around for a long time. And the advantage of the flexible spending account, I'm not going to get into all the details because I got the information outlined here. You can read it, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have about it. But the flexible spending account, the advantage of it, I guess I was told that we need to make it quick and short, is that the advantage to the employee is that you can pre-tax dollars, and that anytime we can save money, that's a good thing. The, right now, if I remember right, it's about $25.50 that you can put into the, in the flexible spending account. I always like to use myself as an example. For so many years, I put at least $75 a month into that flexible spending account. Now, under the old provisions of the, well, they did that, that flexible spending account, if you don't, spend the money, you would lose the money. Now, they have done and changed it around. There is a carryover, but it's only $500. So in other words, you can carry over $500 from the previous year. You have up to, usually, depends on the employer's options and stuff like that. You can have up to 2.5 months into the next year to claim that expense. But now the expense has to happen within the fiscal year, okay? And there is an outline in that information that tells you exactly what, if you look at the second page there, it says tax rules governing the FSA, flexible spending accounts. It outlines it, according to the rules, what you can or can't do. One of the big questions everyone asks me about that when we first, start talking about flexible spending accounts is, well, how does it affect my Social Security? It can reduce your Social Security, but it's such a minimal amount. Most people don't even worry about it because the school system has been doing what we call a premium-only plan. Right now, Horace Mann was approved by the prior board to do what we call the POP, which is premium-only plan. We were, so we're approved to do that now. Of course, we've got a new board, and whatever they decide to do, we'll go with that, of course. Anybody got a question at this point?
So this is in addition to the regular health insurance benefit?
Yes, yes.
And you can't pay your health insurance premium for
No, well, you're already doing that through, they're doing what they call, I used to call it a full-blown, you're not doing a full-blown cafeteria plan. You were doing Section 125, but you were only doing premium only. They call it POP or premium only plan. Okay. Under the flexible benefit program, you have medical spending accounts, the 2550, and then you also have the dependent care, which is up to $5,000. Okay. You don't have to do, like right now we're just doing the premium only. You can just do the flexible spending account, and you also can, or you can add the dependent care. Advantages of the dependent care is if they have to be under 13, you have to be having to work, in other words, to have that benefit. And if it's a good way to pre-tax and save some tax dollars. This is what it comes down to. I think on the very bottom of that page, it gives you an illustration. If you were making $35,000 a year and a 25% marginal tax bracket, which that's probably actually a little bit high, but that's the illustration. And you decide to put money into, your medical flexible spending account. Basically, out of that money that you put in there, if you just put in $4,000, there would be $1,000 of tax savings, and that's no taxes paid. It's not, but there again, you use it or lose it. My advice is, if I was counting you or anyone else, I would say let's not put too much money in there. But I have 3 kids, and with 3 kids, I could spend $75 a month, and never once did I lose any of the money. But that would be a good option. It's not an option you have to offer your employees, but it's a good benefit to have. And then when you have those people that have dependents, in this area, I don't think it's a big issue, but I have a nephew, and they spend $1,000 a month on that, expense in other places. So it depends where you live and, what the expense is, but it is a provision that the government allows. And in order to do that, it has to be a payroll deduction, and it has to be locked in for a year. You don't have, in other words, once you sign up, the only thing that can change it, have to be life change, just like with the regular cafeteria plan, has to be a life status change at this point. Now, that's a real brief explanation of FSA savings accounts, options. At this point, actually, there was the medical spending accounts. It's also attached in that second part of it. It's up to you, like I say, on those, if you want to go into that. And what I did attach to that, and that very last page was, that page actually starts off addressed to Rita Jones, because originally when we did that, that's who it was addressed to. And it explains the executive summary of the, Horace Mann Flexible Benefit Program, the one that actually is in place right now, if we go with it. Now, something we did do, which I think helped, we actually, when we met with the previous board and talked about the situation, we actually amended the agreement to where that it was effective with the enrollment of the health insurance, because the original plan was January, which was not good. And then the other thing that we encouraged them to do, and they did, they changed and added the dental plan, which was not on there also. So now all should be in good sync. So the ideal situation, if I was in your situation advising you, I would say that you need to be considering the possibilities if it is something you want to consider. And when you're coming up with health insurance, which is a big issue, I was just talking to one of the ladies here, and she was telling me that the governor hasn't signed off yet, but they may allow the teachers to be in the pool, Virginia. You know, it's like anything else until you see what the pool provides and what the benefits of it is, you know. And then one other option that I would mention to you that I would encourage you to look at also is we do what we call health savings accounts, or you can get that not through us, but any other health savings accounts. I'm just going to touch on that briefly. The health saving account is I love it because it basically, if you don't use it, you don't lose it, and then it moves over until the next year. I don't know if any of y'all here have health savings accounts, but if you do, it's a great option, and that money can continue to accumulate, you know, as you go down in the future. And at some point, 59.5, if you didn't use it for your health insurance, or not health insurance, but for one of the benefits that you needed, then you could, at 59.5, you can take it and do something else with it. But, you know, you have to be 59.5. But I think it's a great benefit because it helps you, you know, and it helps the employees control their costs, and it gives them a little bit of a tax relief. And everybody likes that, I think, as much as possible. But as far as one thing I will mention too, with the flexible spending accounts, some people say, well, I actually just talked to Paul Harris, CPA, today about this to confirm some things with him, make sure on that. There is a child credit that you can get, or you know, for that is which is $6,000, which you can get $5,000 with the dependent care instead of, but $6,000. But the difference being is that you have to file that and show, which you have to do it anyway. But as you do it with us, we have like a debit card, or most companies now, it's become pretty much just like a credit card. You just go to them, if you go to the doctor, you just say, here it is. They run it through, you know, it's done. It's a whole lot easier. So, any questions?
I have one, and you may have it in there. I haven't read it in depth, but and I believe you can do it either the physical year or our physical year.
Yeah, it can go with the plan year, and that is a good thing. Yes, that's a good point. So you can go with the plan year. So it does work, and that's one reason we recommend it. If you're looking at doing it, it would make sense. We could actually have started it. We actually was originally going to start it, I think, at the beginning of this fiscal year to do the POP plan. But I said, well, my thoughts was it was better to wait until you do the whole thing at one time, rather than have this for 6 months and then over again. That just would be confusing. Now, this is, and of course, I work with Horace Mann, and I'm a salesperson, but I think one of the most important things that I've dealt with, and I've been doing this for 30 years, and dealing with teachers, is that teachers have to have education, just like anyone else does. And one of the jobs that you need, whoever does it, they will need to meet with the teachers and educate them and show them and explain to them what the benefits of the program is. Because I know when they finally went self-funding here, everybody was scared to death about that. But once they went through the process of education and understanding, it was something that they saw was they needed to do or try at least. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's the same thing with this. To me, this flexible spending account for anyone that wants to do it, I think the biggest aggravation is for the person that does the payroll, because then they've got to, put it on payroll. But otherwise, we go out and help enroll it and get it started. And so it's another benefit that the employer can offer. And I'm not supposed to be a tax expert on this, but if I understand right, that does save the employer FICA on that money, because it is before taxes and FICA. So there is a little bit of savings to the employee and employee in that aspect, but then again, it's not like it's going to be a great amount of money, but it is a little bit of a savings.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Jesse, on the health insurance update.
As Mr. Chris kind of noted a little bit, in the many years that I have served on the insurance committee, one of the key questions has always been about why can't we get on the state plan. Well, due to a Virginia Education Association initiated bill, that now can be a possibility. A bill was created to establish a statewide health insurance option for school boards, which could include retirees as well as local government employees. However, to be successful, the plan will need at least 3,000 to 4,000 participants, with 10,000 being ideal. However, it will be at least a year before the plan can be implemented, and there is no guarantee that the rates will be any better than what we've got.
Something I just happen to think it's an important part, and I'm just going back to the health savings accounts for just a second. And this is something I talked a little bit to Debbie about, and this is something you have to be aware of. I think she even mentioned that even your consultant had recommended looking at health savings accounts. You have to have what they call a high deductible plan. And you know, if this state plan doesn't work out, you always have to have a contingency. You know, I don't know, and I'm not the person that would say that, but you might look at the option of having a basic plan, and then if they would allow you to do it, to do the high deductible plan. So you could have two plans. And you know, that way they could save money, possibly, I don't know, but I just mentioned that as an option that, you know, all these things cross my mind, but you know, they're unknown quantities until these other things are determined. But the HSA, you do have to have a higher deductible. I participate also in the HSA, as I mentioned to you earlier. And one thing, I'll throw this out to you, that my employer does, they offer me 3 different options. And in that option, if I chose the mid-range, they actually gave, I'm not saying this would work for the school system, but they actually give me $500 to throw into the pot, which is pretty nice. So, you know, that helps to fund my bigger deductible, because that's not going to hit me so hard. And then the nice thing is that if I don't spend that money, then it still rolls over. And but I just thought I would mention it to you because you're all going to be facing that.
Anyway, the insurance committee met on March 1st with our consultant or actuarial, Matt Smith. He explained also the flexible spending account and health savings accounts and the benefits to the employees. Mr. Smith then reviewed the paid claims information, noting that our medical experience had decreased from last year. However, our pharmacy experience had increased, but the overall total claims had decreased, which is good. He also reviewed the final cost from 2013-14 to our current year and the projected cost for 2016-17. With no changes, the current health insurance plan is projected to increase by 13.8%. Now, I know of a couple of insurance groups that they're looking at either 10% or 14%, so that increase is within the range. The insurance committee voted to have the insurance put out to bid, and due to the turnaround time and with our April board meeting, I'm thinking that we will probably have to recess or have a special called meeting to approve in order for the turnaround time for the central office personnel to do that. And I'll entertain any questions.
No questions, we'll move on to SOL issues. Ms. Fannin.
I have had a great concern from a lot of the teachers. Of course, we all know that SOLs are very, very stressful, not only on teachers, on students, on parents. Teachers feel that, you know, if you don't do well, there's a danger of you being fired or being moved or whatever. And with that being said, my great concern with this is during the SOL review time, I think it's very, very important that we have every teacher, reading specialist, math specialist in the schools. Because, you know, that's like we have writing SOL coming up. We've missed a lot for snow. Of course, that we can't control that. But you have so many days that you miss for snow, then you do come back, and maybe one of your specialists are gone on a trip. And I know that, you know, you can probably, there's a lot of things that you can gather from those and bring back and help better whatever you're doing. But my thought and my concern, and also teachers, is that we need to pick a better time to be out of our schools rather than during the SOL review time, because that's why they're there. That's why they're paid, is to be there to help these teachers and to help these students to be able to do better. And if you're not there, and from what I can understand, and anybody correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a reading specialist and or math and you're absent, you don't get a substitute. So therefore, that body is just gone. And like I said, you know, when you miss a lot for snow, that sets your kids back. And kids are stressed out over these SOLs. The writing SOL is coming up. I mean, there's people that are just, I mean, they're literally sick of it. There's teachers have worked really, really hard. And when you got teachers, you got schools that are in warning, schools that have lost their accreditation, and these people are out. I think that we really need, and like I said, I'm not saying you don't need to go to these workshops, seminars, or whatever. We just need to be very, very selective of when we do. I mean, can you not go during the summer months, or maybe even the first month of school or whatever? Because that's when you would learn what they're teaching you to bring on board for the rest of the school year. Just whatever we can do to make SOLs better. You know, we just, you know, it's so stressful as it is, and I just think that maybe that's something that we're lacking in, which is not a big concern, that everybody be there. And I mean, if anybody has any input on that, you know, I get this from teachers, and you know, I've told this every meeting. I don't go on one teacher. When someone tells me something, I investigate it, and I talk and I listen, and you know, you teachers, you have a voice, and we want to hear your voice. You know, I've had teachers tell me in the past they felt like they didn't have a voice. They were afraid to voice their thoughts, their opinions. That's no longer the case. You do have a voice, and without you sharing that with any of us, we're not in the schools. We don't know. We don't know what you need. So that's just, you know, a concern. It's a concern of mine. It's a concern of teachers. It's a concern of parents. You know, I just think that's something we really need to be careful of when we take people out of our schools.
Thank you. Next is an update on the superintendent search. The deadline for applications was February 29th. We had 11 applicants. About half of those are in the or maybe 6 of those are within the county school system. Others are from neighboring school systems, even as far as, well, I think one guy applied from across the country somewhere. People from Botetourt County and Wise County, different places. So this is the first time we've met since the applications were received. So we're going to have to discuss that later about getting a schedule to do interviews and who we're going to interview. And so we're going to try to do that hopefully tonight. Later on, we talk about personnel. So that's kind of an update on superintendent. Next thing is the Southwest Region Spring Network Forum. Mr. Brickley.
For the school board members, on April the 21st of this year at Galax High School, they have the annual BSBA Southwest Region Spring Network Forum. And this is for school board members and superintendents. Gives you an opportunity to meet with your colleagues from across the region. And the main thing that you might be interested in is that they have an art show. Each school division is asked to enter 3 pieces of student art, elementary, middle, and high school. And that is judged at the forum with ribbons for the winners. These pieces of art are framed and rotated for display in the offices of Secretary of Education, Department of Education, and the School Board Association for 1 year. Any school board member who attends the forum will be in automatic compliance with Standard 5D, which requires local school board members to participate in school training. So if you're interested, get in touch with Kathy, and she can send the registration in for you.
Thank you. Next is elementary, middle school realignment. Mr. Briggs.
When I first came to Lee County, it's been a couple of months now, and started going around to the elementary schools, one of the first things I found was the overcrowding in the elementary schools. drastic overcrowding. I got to looking at the configuration of the feeder schools with the middle schools and the high schools. And I think that Thomas Walker and the way it's configured with its feeder schools is good for that area. But in the other area, there's something I'd like for you to consider, and that's making the elementary schools, K through 4, moving that 5th grade to the middle schools, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then having Lee High continue as 9 through 12. The number of students in those schools, those elementary schools, would drop drastically. And I think it'd make a lot safer and better schools in the elementary schools. We've talked to both middle school principals. There is room at the middle schools for those 5th grades. Now, there was some concern, I'm sure, from parents about you're going to stick my 5th grader up there with those older kids. But if you put them on a wing by themselves, you can take care of that for a year. And I don't think it would hurt at all. Some negatives are you're going to take the good teachers. Well, all teachers are pretty good, and I don't think you can single out 5th grade teachers as being the best. There will be some switching of teachers when that happens, and also programs. There are some programs that will go along with those 5th graders, but I don't really think those are negatives. That's just something I want to throw out and let everybody consider for next year. Changing the configuration of Lee High School's feeder schools.
Okay, thank you. Next, teacher goals, Ms. Farron.
So here again, I spoke with teachers, and I've learned, every time I talk to somebody, I learn a little bit more about this. It's goals that they're required to write and to agree upon. And so many teachers have concerns because they were, I feel, enforced to write goals saying that they will have 100% pass rate of their SOLs. That's not a goal, that's a dream. That's how I feel, and I think that's how teachers feel. And I don't think they understand why that they're saying that their goals are saying that they're going to have 100%. And if anybody can enlighten that or explain it to where, because when they come to me with this, like I said, I don't fully understand it either. I know that goals are a great thing to have, and we need to try to reach as high as goal as possible, but in reality, I think that's a goal that is not reachable. And teachers feel, it's no secret that our teachers' self-esteem has been very, very low, and we are trying to build that up and to make them feel like that what they say, what they do matters, and that they're on board for them to be able to do their best. But in saying that, I don't think having them to write goals up and having them to sign this stating that I will have 100%. And like I said, maybe someone can explain it more than I'm understanding it. Are there any teachers here that have concern with this?
To try.
Okay.
Mr. Ricky, do you have those copies?
Yes. These.
Yes, that has the rubric in it. What it is, it's the teacher evaluation, and I don't have that handbook out here. And what it said this year is standard 7, that teachers' evaluation would be based on their SOL score. Right. And if you'll go to where you see the rubric, and I think it is a misunderstanding, truly. No one knows. I mean, I wouldn't expect 100%. That's not true. We're just saying we want all of our students to make 70 or 75, whichever, if it's math or English. So let's take math, and if you'll look at it there. Yes, you're going to expect it, but the teachers are rated on a 4, 3, 2, 1. That's just one of the criteria. That's standard 7. But they've got standard 1, 2, and you can see what the percentages are in there. for them. What we're saying is if a teacher, you have a class, and I don't have one in front of me, but it says that you have, what is the first one? Some to 85% of the students
Highly
pass.
effective.
In order to get a 4,
Yeah, that's a 4.0, highly effective, 85 to 100%.
in order for a teacher to get a 4, 85% of that 100% will make a passing score on the SOL. Not saying that they have to have 100%, but the expectation is that you want all of your students to make a 70 or 75, is what you're asking. You're not asking.
But I think though, the concern I've heard from teachers, they feel like this comes back to HANA when they do get evaluated, they're gonna say, and they've heard this from other counties, okay, 100% is gonna pass, well, 75% pass, well, you're not doing your job.
You signed it.
Yeah,
Well,
you
that's
signed
going to
it,
be
you said-
someone else that says that. That's not what I would, This comes back to the principal and the teacher. This is back between the principal and the teacher. And there's a very special note down here
So
at
the
the bottom.
principals are agreeing with this?
The principals, yes. As far as I know, that it was discussed with the principals over and over. Not just one time. And there were concerns, and it came up at the communications meeting and so forth. It was very difficult for everyone to understand that the expectation was for all students to pass in my classroom. But I know that they won't. And we were just, and some of them wanted to
Is this what the
say,
state tells you that you need to tell them?
that was what we were told at a meeting by one of the representatives. That's all I can say. But, I know, and they said this is
And
what the
listen,
expectations.
Y'all can, you teachers, you have a
Yeah.
voice. You have
May
a
I say
voice.
something?
Yes.
My name's Doris Boynton. I'm with the Virginia Education Association. I work with Lee County Education Association. I do workshops on writing the goals for teacher evaluation using the State Department of Education's guidelines. My understanding is 100% of your students can make progress, but that is not attached to a score.
They are no longer using that progress. That went out last year.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
That's what they said. It's on SOL scores along this year. And then coming next year, the state is going to send down the score. We're not going to be able to do anything with the score. As far as I understand, the state is going to send, they'll look at the SOLs and they will send the score to Lee County for the teachers. It won't be anything that we do. And they did have that student progress, and that's why when we had star reading and star math, it came in, and so that they could use that for pre and post test.
What she said makes sense.
Well, that was before this year. That's right.
My understanding is that a school division, their report card is based on SOL scores. And a principal's evaluation or central office evaluation may be attached to student test scores, but not a teacher. And
Well,
there's,
it says it this year. Can you read that? It's from School Improvement for Thomas Walker and Pennington. It's truly stated, and you don't have that.
What if you have a school that's not in a school improvement?
All of our schools are coming out this year unless they,
So even if you if you're not in warning, you're still.
our division, there's 2. The division's in warning for writing.
Right.
So therefore, all of our schools are in warning for writing. So hopefully this year, this is the 3rd year, and I believe Lynn is here, and she is hoping that she gets if she makes it, she's got 3 years, and each year they'll look at it, but that will be up to the principal and the teachers to sustain their accreditation. You've got to sustain your accreditation,
Right.
or you're back to square one, and you'll have to go through. And I think if Mona was here from,
Dryden. I understand that because Dryden lost theirs. So, but you're
we
telling me-
spent almost all last year, and
I
listening to
know,
something.
those-
I was up there totally, and I think Mom will tell you that we worked so
Oh, I
hard.
know, I
when
know,
they came
I
out.
know when a school loses
But-
its accreditation, it's hard on those teachers.
It's hard.
It's hard.
But this is what it says. It talks about the 90 minutes, and it talks about the lesson plans that you've got to have. I had it here. Ensure that the summative teacher evaluation plan goals focus on improving student achievement, because Standard 7 is based on SOL performance for teachers in SOL tested areas.
That key word is
Okay.
improving.
So why don't we have teachers write their goals as to improve student achievement,
I'm
et
sorry,
cetera,
wait a
and not
minute.
say, we're gonna have every kid in every school in Lee County 100% pass SOS, because it's not gonna happen.
We know that. But I understand what you're saying is, we're all saying the same thing, but we're trying to come up with one. But I read the wrong one to you, I'm sorry. Recommendation 8, ensure that summative evaluation results for Standard 7 are based on student SOL performance for teachers in SOL tested areas.
That's one part of a teacher's evaluation though, right? The
There are
SOL.
7 standards that they're
So I mean,
that's
SOL
just
is a
one part.
function of it.
It's just one part, and that's what we're saying. Every teacher wants a 4. I mean, what they tell us, we don't have 4s, that it's hard to get a 4. I mean, I'm just saying that. But 3, we do have 4s in Lee County.
Well,
Trust
if you're
me.
trying to get a 4, you could have used the 85%
That's right.
rather than 100.
But look at what it's saying. 85% of my class, if I have 20 students.
85 to 100%.
Yeah. Mhm. You get a 4. But that's just one of the teacher evaluation criteria. And it goes through there, and I think it'll show you, did I have all the standards in there?
I think so.
Pardon?
On paperback when you get through.
You do?
Look at it, yeah.
But do you not understand
I
their
do,
concern?
trust me, we do. That was a problem, but I'm sorry, school improvement says, and I think that's where I come in getting, Wandling Adams said, because it has been my duty to be the chair and to be the liaison for school improvement. But I have not said or done anything without the superintendent's approval.
Is that right, Mr. Ricky? You're fine, no.
Trust me, I do not operate without chain of command. And I think Mr. Ricky can say that.
We are just trying to
But I understand, and I
understand
think
concerns
principals,
and to make
I think we
make it
need to
better.
go back to our principals, because if I go back and think,
I
it was
will.
principals.
I'm going to go back to some of these principals. that I
Well,
talked
in
to.
your case,
I mean, I will.
yes, you've got one that very much was
Listen,
involved.
I communicate with all
Good.
every school in Lee County is a concern of mine because they have kids in them. It's not just my district, it's every school. I want Thomas
Trust me, I
Walker.
thank you, and I appreciate you wanting to discuss it. I hate to have to discuss it like this, but I am passionate about what I do.
See, but if we don't discuss it like this, the teachers don't know that we're actually discussing it.
I understand that
And
point.
we don't have anything to hide from.
Right. And I
so
don't- no.
we just get it out in the open.
I
What-
think
what we
that
can do
it's a
legally, we get it out in the
communication
open.
from
Yes.
central office, principal, teacher. And yes, I've been to some of the schools, and I can remember one, yes, that we did have a great discussion on the 100%. We were just trying to make it simple and go on, because we know.
I think that's it. I don't think it is real simple. I think that's the key problem. I don't think it is too simple.
Well, I think what they wanted to say is 70% of my students will make 70.
You know that they all want to.
But what we have to do is have a rubric, and we sent this to the region. Matt Herb looked at it to make sure that it made sense, that it has to be something that
So
will
he
work.
approved it. Matt who?
Matt Herb.
If I
Thank-
could say something for just a
Okay.
moment. Of that evaluation, that is criteria 7, but that is 40% of our evaluation.
It is.
It's not like 1/7. That section is 40%. And if you get a 0 in that, that's hard to overcome. You're going to be in a needs improvement area.
That's true.
As as a teacher, you know, after 25 years.
That's what it costs for.
With some of us where we have done some ability grouping, and we have a teacher in particular who has students that have never passed a test, that have never made above a 350 probably, she will absolutely have a 0. She is already knowing
In that one.
in that 40%,
Which
almost
is
half. So how's she going to recover?
But that's what the state, we didn't come up with this. This is in the state evaluation, those standards, and the percentages that it counts. Now, we could go back and have a meeting,
We might
you know,
need to
for
do
next
that.
year
Okay.
and look at that
Yeah.
and see. But we could change what those percentages are, and hopefully,
We
we
can change.
have just followed what the state gave us.
We'll continue this.
Okay.
It is a.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
I've got one quick question. It says, talent ed. What is talent ed?
Talent Ed is just a technology, electronic means of putting information into it. And what we did, it has all of the forms that are in the teacher evaluation handbook. It's there to use electronically. Now, we don't have to use an electronic device for it. We can use paper. And you'd have a book like this, and
Yeah, I've seen the books, they're this thick.
yeah. So if it's on there, you don't really, if you put everything on there, it's there and it's history. And you can go back and get that teacher's evaluation at any time you want to.
What about the principal evaluation?
The principal evaluations are on there also.
Is there a reason why all directors have to evaluate principals? That was the question.
That's a superintendent decision.
Okay. That's what we was wondering.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the early retirement proposal, Debbie Jesse.
Before I go into the proposals, I just want to go over a poll. I will admit that the poll was a few years ago, but I think this
I
also
think this is
gives
a
you
discussion we had. Said I can give you that.
a bit of a trend also. And Pulaski County did this, polled 31 school divisions in southwest and central Virginia about what type of ERIP plan, early retirement incentive, was most popular. One school division used a percentage of the employee's final salary paid in exchange for a number of days, substituting for 1 year only. A percentage of the employee's final year salary for multiple years is paid in exchange for a number of days, substituting for same multiple years. This was used by 7. A flat dollar amount or percentage is paid with no reciprocity on the employee's part, also used by 7. And then having no documented ERIP policy, or the school board and staff evaluates the need on a yearly basis and offers a flat dollar amount or percentage if need exists, used by 16 school divisions. On the whole, if we offer a plan, or whatever plan that we probably offer, will probably be better than any other school division out there. Scott County is not offering one. Wise County was looking at one of giving the applicants $10,000. They chose not to do that. Tazewell County does not offer one, and again, many others do not offer an early retirement incentive plan. Having said that, I will go back over, and I'm just going to go over 2 plans, and I'm going to go over them in reverse option. And that was the Plan 2 that I introduced last month, and that is offering the employees a one-time payment of $30,000, or support employees $15,000. And the payout, they may take that as a payout, or they could roll that over into a retirement plan of their choice. The $30,000 in particular is basically equivalent to about 2 years of our current plan. And And then the other plan, Plan 1, from what was introduced last month, there have been 3 changes. First, two of the changes in the eligibility, the employee must have at least 25 years rather than what it was in the Plan 1 of 30 years, and also that they must be at least age 50, and they have to be age 50. They don't have to go up to the unreduced Social Security. The other change proposing is that an employee may exchange sick leave and/or vacation days in lieu of the required work days. However, any donated sick leave days will not meet this provision.
Next, we'll move to budget and savings issues. Mr. Kidwell.
Budget and savings, we have made a few changes since January 1st. ICT was one of them, with the subs, the travel, the training, and all of it involved. Advanced Ed was one with over $6,000 over a 5-year span. Cell phones, I've got the updated bill here. Looks like we are saving $3,000 in taxpayer funds on cell phones now in Lake County.
A month.
Per month, $3,000. And we forgot the attorney fees. We went from last year of paying $130,800 in attorney fees. This man makes $24,000 a year as our attorney. We have talked to a businessman at Thomas Walker, and I think we're going to get a roof at Thomas Walker with the help of this businessman and a grant that they match. And we're proud of that. I am, for one.
That's great.
Just wanted to throw that out there for everybody to know.
Anything else?
No.
Next is crisis plan. I'm just going to pass on that for this month. I know the director that was involved with that's not here tonight, so I'm going to wait on that. Next is surplus property expanded.
And I think it was our budget meeting that someone passed out a packet of how many vehicles that Lee County School System owns, and it was what, 58?
A lot.
It was a lot.
48.
Was it 48? I think what's not being used, if they are sellable, let's sell them and put that money towards something else. We need to go through and see what we need and keep only what we need and get rid of everything else. I don't know if there's some sitting that are actually tagged and insured. I don't know, but we need to find out, and whatever is not needed, I make a motion that we can't do it tonight, but we'll do that another time. We will sell those. If they're not runnable, we'll get somebody that buys you, what is it, cash for vehicles. It's $300 to $400. You know, that's some paint to paint schools this summer. We just need to get rid of anything that is not needed.
Next is lesson plans and task stream. Mr. Kidwell.
I hate to beat a dead horse, because we've already beat on it tonight with all the other, because it all ties together with task stream, the lesson plans, right back to listening to the teachers. They tell me they spend 3 to 4 hours on the weekend writing lesson plans. With a teacher teaching 2 to 3 subjects, you got to have a lesson plan for each subject. And no one should expect anybody to work 3 to 4 hours in a lesson plan on the weekend. And I don't have to hear all about it. We know all about it. But please listen to our teachers. That's all we're asking. And because we hear it, I hear it every day. They want relief. And I know we're in school improvement, but I think if we listen to our teachers, we can get through it and come out of it.
I think also, I know there's certain requirements if you're in improvement that you have to do certain lesson plans and meet certain points, but the fact of the matter is, teachers need to be teaching and not writing books for lesson plans, because that doesn't do a thing for the students. So we got to find a way to get around this and be reasonable about it, still meet the qualifications and requirements of the state. Let the teachers teach. Maybe that's why we're in improvement, because the teachers can't teach. There's too much paperwork. There's too many things that's coming down from Richmond and Washington. It's taken away from teachers teaching students in the classroom. A lot of that stuff is out of our hands. We can't do anything about it. But the things that are within our power to change, we're going to change them one way or the other. So we'll move on now. VSBA policy updates, Ms. Adams. Good evening.
You have on your desk a copy that says VSBA, for those of you that are new. We'll give the report to you this time. Sometimes we put it in your package, but this time we decided not to, so that you would have time to go through it and look at the policies. And this is the red line copy. And if you'll go over to where it says explanation of revisions, February 2016 policy update, I've gone down and starred, put an asterisk or whatever, at the policies that I feel that maybe need you to read, and you'll make a choice. And over on the second page, JDG, you have option 1 and 2, and so forth. And also JHCH, school meals and snacks. So some of these are just merely editing or updating or a reference. So next month this will be on for your adoption.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, just give me a call.
Any questions?
Well, no, I was just going to say, I mean, personally, I feel that if it's just a legal update or just a grammatical change, they just need to be accepted and go on with it. And then the ones, as say, that have been starred and everything, where we might actually take action, you know, really look at those and things. But just as I say, oftentimes they decide they need to change may to shall or something like that, and the policy itself has not changed, or again, legal reference, the policy has not changed.
Right. And I could go ahead and have all of those updated, because it takes quite a while to get this updated and get to the website. And that's how we've been doing it in the past, but this is yours to make a decision.
Cool. I mean, I'd like to look at it before we read anything. Next is enrollment, Mr. Griffin.
Okay. Lee County enrollment changes from last month is -1. Enrollment changes from the same time last year is -60.
Next is financial, Ms. Lambert, Mr. Bricky.
Good evening. This is a summary of our financial activity for the month of February. We received revenues totaling $2,499,543.07. We'd received 54.14% of our estimated revenues for the year as of the end of February. Our expenditures for the month of February totaled $3,081,891.98, and we have used 49.21% of our appropriations through the end of February. Any questions?
Just remind me again what the magic number is,
What the magic number is?
but what the budget was based on.
3,067.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move into action agenda items. First, of course, the business is consider approval of 2016-2017 school calendar, Mr. Bricky.
Okay, we've done 11 calendars to this point. And the last one, they all go out to the teachers for their evaluation. And the last one was really pretty good, I think. It was the one that they They did, yes. So I'd like for you, I know you've taken a look over that, and I'd like for you to approve the school calendar.
We have a motion to approve the school calendar for 2016, 2017 calendar year.
I make the motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, consider approval of commencement exercises for Thomas Walker High School for Sunday, June 5th at 3 o'clock, and Lee High School for Friday, June the 3rd at 7 p.m. Mr. Bricky.
Yes, I have a letter from Mr. Ron Early, the principal of Thomas Walker High School, and he sets his commencement exercises for the graduating seniors of Thomas Walker for Sunday, June 5th, 2016 at 3 o'clock, and also from Ms. Michelle Warner at Lee High. She would like to request Friday, June 3rd, 2016 at 7 o'clock for the commencement exercises for Lee High School. I'd like your approval for that.
Do we have a motion to approve the dates recommended by the principal of Thomas Walker and Lee High School for graduation?
Make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it, but I want to say the state track meet is on that Friday.
That's what I was wondering.
The state track meet on the Lee High day.
Let me talk to Ms. Warner and see what,
But we can go ahead and vote on it, change it.
yeah, we can change it later if we go ahead and approve it now. Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of Head Start Corrective Action Plan, Ms. Evans.
First of all, I'd like to say that this came to you without being in your packages due to the fact that we didn't get feedback from the regional office until Monday of this week. The Policy Council meets on Tuesday and then your Thursday. So as I take you through this packet, which I think all of you have, first of all, you will have the overview of findings as your first copy. That, if you will look on page 3, will show you what the finding was. A criminal record check required by federal law. I can tell you that with the regional office, we went through trying to explain to them that we were in compliance because we have used the Lee County substitute list, and that this person came from the substitute list who had the required background checks. However, what they said was they wanted more clarification and they wanted it put in steps, A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3. So the next part is my letter, and they wanted the letter to be the corrective action stated in the letter. So the next one is the County Head Start letter. If you will go to second page, corrective action, revised policy. But behind it, you will find what the current policy was. You can see here, the current policy, that's what we were operating under. And then you will see the revised policy. So this is the revised policy that we're asking you to approve tonight. I can read it to you, or you can read it.
I have a question. So are they saying that there was someone hired in Head Start and there was not a criminal background done on them?
But she had the criminal record, and if you will see the documentation,
She
which
had
is
the
in the
criminal
back.
record, or she had the background?
She had all of the background checks. We have it, the dates, etc.
How did this happen?
Don't know, because the guy that came in here, after he left, we've tried to explain whether he didn't see it, didn't look at it. I don't know. I can't answer it.
But the issue was the person had been hired as a substitute. There'd been a background check, everything was okay. Then they were hired for a different position within Head Start.
But that didn't matter, they said. Doesn't matter.
Then what was the issue?
That's what we're
But
trying
I mean,
to
I guess
say.
what they're saying is there was a time lapse there. There was a new hire.
So you.
So there should have been another background
saying
check,
that
that's what they're
probably-
saying.
They don't require that. If it comes from the
They wrote
Lee
us up for not
County,
having a
Evidently
background
they
check.
do.
well, if you look at the policy, what they're saying, it's the same thing. However, what we said was, according to theirs, all that is required, and I did talk to the lady from Washington yesterday, and she said, you do not have to put 3 years in there. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is have a criminal background check.
So in other words, what we're gonna, the revised policy is just gonna be, no matter what you've done before, if Head Start hires you, we're going to do a criminal background
That's
check.
exactly,
Okay.
we're gonna do a new one, no
Right.
matter what.
I think so, yeah.
And that's what we're
Okay.
saying
Okay.
in our policy. But even though she said you don't have to do that because, and the reason we put 3 years is that the Virginia whatever, requires it for our Head Start licensure, state licensure requires that everyone have in 3 years, so we do that. But this lady was on the sub list and she came back in August, she was on the sub list, and we've done it before. So
So we
we're
need to
just
make sure we
saying,
don't do it again.
I don't know, you're just gonna satisfy the federal and go on.
All right, thank you.
And that's what we did. And if you'll see there, we put it 1, 2, 3, and if anything changes from what we had, all that we said, we'll have a form. The only thing different is we're gonna have a form with their names, the dates they got it, and keep up.
We'll just look at it as a whole new hire. I mean, even if they've been in
That's
the
what we're
system,
doing.
we'll just, okay.
So I would appreciate it if you would approve this so that I can get it in the mail.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Next is consider approval of overnight field trips.
In your packet are several overnight field trips that you probably had time to look at. I'd like for you to approve those for me.
We have a motion to approve the field trips as requested.
I make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is consider approval of second semester field trips.
Also in your packets are second semester field trips, if you would approve those.
Motion to accept those, approve those.
I
So
mean,
moved.
Second?
I second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is consideration of the early retirement incentive plan. Mr. Bricky.
We spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours just before this meeting talking about ERIP again with our attorney, and I've spent off and on today several hours, but we're still going to have to table it, I suppose, on the day for a while. We may have to have a call session.
We may have to, yeah, we definitely will probably because.
There needs to be some explanation on all of that to make sure we're
Okay,
right.
we'll just table that. We have a motion to approve payment of the bills.
Don't we need a motion to table it again if we're going to table?
Oh, on the E-reel, we have a motion to table.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, aye? Opposed? Now, do we have a motion to consider approval of payment of the bills?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Reports and recommendations of the board, Ms. Jessie?
I don't know whether on your emails or anything that you have received from the School Boards Association about an upcoming webinar on school board roles and responsibilities. I would, for those of you that didn't attend the, in Richmond on the orientation, I would suggest maybe you do that webinar.
When is it?
I'll have to double check the date, but it's usually around like 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And I have been known to put my computer in the car and listen to it as I'm traveling too. So that might be an option also for you. I have been asked to serve as the representative for the governor's school. So if you have, and since our first meeting was canceled due to bad weather, I'm not sure I could answer any questions you have on it, but I will certainly try. And the governor's school is having their state evaluation April 3rd through the 6th. Currently, Lee County has 6 students in the governor's school. which is double over what it was last year. There were 3 students. So, and unfortunately too, one of the board's responsibility will be to find a new director for the governor's school. He is retiring. And so, as I say, this will be something new for me, so if you do have questions on the governor's school, please let me know. And the end of this month is the deadline date if you would like to nominate somebody for the Educators of Distinction. And there were application forms up there on the podium, on the guidelines and everything, so please feel free to take that. And for those of you that might not have heard all the budget update, the state budget update, it looks like our schools will be receiving $73 million more than was proposed by the governor. And it does include a 2% teacher pay increase the first year of the budget. It will reestablish the lottery proceeds distribution. However, it will not be until the second year of the budget. And it also funds a pilot program for mixed-use delivery models in early childhood education, and includes $3.2 million to increase Virginia preschool initiative slots, and includes $35 million for the at-risk add-on to direct funding to schools with disproportionate free and reduced lunch populations. So, and it also gives increased flexibility to the school division on the use of money. So that will be a very important thing also. It looks like the General Assembly will be adjourning on time. Unless something happens maybe today or happened today and everything. So within hopefully a week or so, we will have what our funds look like for next year, and then our budget committee can begin work for the.
Have you read, do you know what in monetary terms this redistribution of the lottery funds, what it means to Lee County school system potentially?
Not yet. We'll have to wait about a week or so, maybe a little bit more, before we know the firm figures. And since there was an adjustment to it, I mean, because in some cases the lottery funds had supplanted rather than a surplus, you know, we won't know until we actually see the readout.
It'd be better than what we had, for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it, exactly. On the whole, it sounds better than what we've had.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Harper? Yes, sir. I don't have much either. I was glad that Mr. Kidwell brought up some of the things that we've done to save some money. I think we're trying to be good stewards of the money that we have. We know we don't have a lot, but we want to try to spend it in the right ways and get it to the teachers and the children so that they have a good experience in the classroom. And we're going to keep digging at things and keep looking at areas to use the money in better ways, I guess. So be assured of that. Teachers, principals, staff members, anybody that works in the school system always know that, as Ms. Fannin said earlier, you've got a voice in this thing now. You've always been a part of it. Maybe you didn't feel like you had a voice, but you do now.
I think they were afraid. I'll be honest with you. I think they were afraid of what may happen. That's not the case anymore.
But don't feel that way anymore, Ms. Fannin.
Why such a small crowd? I was getting used to the standing room only.
We were going to start charging admission, but now.
I guess it's a good thing we did set up the popcorn machine.
That's right, yeah. Thank y'all for coming.
Mr. Kidwell.
I'd like to thank Mr. Robert Smith for coming, our District 1 Supervisor. I put it off for the last 2 months to talk about a deal in my district that I think our kids at Edendale gets the short end of the stick out of the county. And I will say mine's there. And I'm not tooting my own horn or theirs, but all these kids at Edendale deserve the same electives as the rest of the county. If we're going to realign schools, please include the 7th graders at Edendale. They don't have ours. they don't have band, they don't have chorus, they don't have keyboarding, they don't have computer solutions. I don't think it's too much to ask. We've saved the money to hire a teacher and put there for some of these things. I just ask for the board, the community, and everybody involved. Let's work together and fix this.
Thank you. We have a motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we go into executive closed session to consider personnel section 2.2-3711A1 and pending litigation section 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia to discuss personnel and pending litigation.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.